What's going on, guys? It's your favorite outdoor movie theater owner, your favorite serial entrepreneur, your favorite crypto guy, your favorite or one of your favorite IPO guys, one of your favorite stock guys, one of your favorite finance people. Look, it's Joe Lorick. I'm back with another video, and I want to talk about the HBO Max series, Gaming Wall Street. Again, the HBO Max series, Gaming Wall Street. And if you watch my channel, if you subscribe, if you haven't, please subscribe. But if you've subscribed to the channel, you've seen my videos, then you know over the past 5 to 6 years, I've been talking about the stock market. I've been talking about Robinhood, its IPO, and leading up to the IPO and the company going public. I've been talking about more people investing, encouraging people, not just in crypto, but in regular stocks, just trading different commodities. We've been talking about this for years. And certainly I was around, just like most of you were around, when we had the big GameStop saga and the Robinhood saga, where people couldn't buy stocks when they wanted to, when people felt like millions of people felt like they were cheated out of an opportunity to make generational wealth, to make more money than they had ever made before. Now, don't get me wrong, throughout this saga, there are some people that made tons of money. I'm talking tens of thousands, if not millions of dollars. But I want to talk about and review this particular series because ultimately it's one of 20. Back last year or the year before, I predicted that this was going to happen. I said in my post, I put it out there in the public, I said, look, they're going to make movies from this. They're going to make TV series. They're going to make like 10,000 documentaries. In fact, I named one the Short Squeeze. It hasn't been used yet. Maybe somebody already has it. I don't know. The website's taken already. But in this instance, we're not talking about anything called the Short Squeeze. The people that chose to make this documentary called it Gaming Wall Street. And that's smart because of the term game, or the phrase gamification. Gamification. If you haven't heard gamification within the last 12 months, you're not watching the news. You're not listening when the head of the SEC talks. You're not hearing when the Treasury Department talks. You're not listening enough, which is a problem, because if you're investing and you're interested in this space, you need to pay attention. But I digress. Let's talk about the actual series. If you watched it, make sure you like, share, comment. Make sure you say something in the comment section. Let me know if you thought it was accurate. Let me know if you thought it represented the entire movement, if it represented WallStreetBets, if they accurately depicted what happened, if they exposed little or exposed too much. Let me know what you think in the comment section, because I'm going to let you know my thoughts right now. All right, so let's get to it. I've made it through episode 1 and 2, and in episode 1, it's a great episode for newbies. It's a great episode for people who don't understand short selling and ghost shares. It's a great episode for those who have never heard of WallStreetBets or pay for order flow. And it's a great way to introduce someone into the gamification, as they call it, of stock trading and retail trading. It's a great way to introduce business relationships that people may not have put together. Who are these people betting in the market, and how are they tied to applications like Robinhood? How do they tie in financially? How do they tie in through influence? This is a great episode to introduce these concepts to anyone if they don't want to watch YouTube videos, or if they're too lazy just to look up the thousands of channels out there where people explain these things. But this is also a great episode to put a surface level explanation on what happened with GameStop. If you're not familiar, look, GameStop was a stock that blew up. Okay, a bunch of shorters drove the price down extremely low because they thought the company was going to go bankrupt, because ultimately they're like, look, they're outdated. You don't go into video game stores and buy video game consoles nor games. You just download them at this point. So you had so many people, so many organizations that short betting against them, driving the price down. And then you had a collective group of retail investors that blew the price up. That's a short explanation of it. I'm not going to go too far into it because you have to watch the movie. I'm not going to, ruin everything. And certainly you could watch something else to get the full explanation. I know what it is, but the first episode really goes into that. Okay. The first episode points out a few people they call retail traders, which I don't know if we can call them retail traders. They're more like celebrities or people that are well known that are considered retail traders. Some of the people that started off in the first episode, just to put out there, was Dan Knight from he's a podcast host, Pennies Going Mad or something like that, Pennies. He was a big feature in the show. Okay, ultimately, this is someone that's well known, has a successful podcast, but he's being shown as just another retail trader when we know he's a lot more than that. But nevertheless, he's a part of it. We have Matt, I think Austin, Casper. These are three people who's listed as retail investors, and they met on forums, and they also podcast. They also are people that I would consider somewhat public figures, not like big celebrities, but they're well known. Okay, they didn't take everyone or just some random person off the street and start doing interviews. You had to have somewhat of a following, and these people had followings. So they talk a lot to these individuals about retail trading, about how they got into buying stocks and what money they use and the bets they took. That's what it goes into in a nutshell, okay? And then eventually, after about 20 to 30 minutes of that, it really starts to get into short selling. It starts to explaining what short selling is. You also Roaring Kitty, just to let you know, they were on that too. But again, it just goes into short selling, and then it gets into the GameStop phenomenon, and it gets into just why the GameStop stock blew up and who they were as a company. It gets a little bit into Reddit and WallStreetBets, but ultimately, I think the first episode is really about introducing anyone that doesn't know into the world of trading today and GameStop and WallStreetBets and forums. So that's pretty much what episode 1 is about. Episode 2 goes more into what happened before. It goes back into 2008 and how many of the same people and many of the same issues that existed in 2008 that ruin our economy still exist today. And we're just seeing another repeat of it in a different form. They go into naked short selling, which is illegally creating shares that don't exist. But again, there's a full explanation there of that. They go into pay for order flow. They go into the relationship between Robinhood, Citadel, and Melvin Capital. If you watch videos, again, you know about all of this. I mean, you've heard it. They go into Goldman Sachs, and back in 2008, when they had the override zero supply button, which basically allowed them to sell more shares of stocks that didn't exist, and they settled with the SEC for $15 million. They go into the SEC's role, and when it comes to enforcement, saying that basically they only fine, they don't throw people in jail. Ultimately, it seems like this entire series is just a call for stricter penalties for corruption. The ultimate purpose of this film is to get people locked up for what they're doing, not to be fined. Let's make the penalties harsher, and let's make things more transparent. You know that people have been crying and asking for transparency when it comes to financial markets for the last 50 years. We're never going to get total transparency. We got a little bit more transparency after the Great Recession, after we saw the housing bubble crisis, after we saw the banking bubble crisis, we saw the bailouts. Yes, after that, we got a little bit more transparency than we had before, but then we rolled some of that back, and really we're not back to before or pre-2008, 2009, but certainly we're not far away from 2008, 2009 either. So ultimately, let's just say things are better, but they're not where most people want them to be. And people want to see people in prison for the things that they've done, for lying to the public, for insider trading, which can't be proven. There's so much that goes on in this documentary, but here's my ultimate thought. Listen, if you're a veteran, if you watch thousands of videos on Reddit, on GameStop, on AMC, which is never mentioned, by the way, it's never mentioning AMC or other stocks. It's solely about GameStop. If you're a person that's into Robinhood, trading, any of these things, and you've been watching videos for the last year, you're not going to see new information here. You're not going to gain anything new. However, I will say if you are interested in how the narrative is being sold, how those who have the power to do so are selling it, that's interesting. When it comes to this film, or I'm sorry, this series, keep in mind, this is backed by some big people in the media industry. Okay, we're talking about companies that are owned by Warner Media. You know, so I mean, and just in saying that, in AT&T and Warner Media, that's a part of the group. So that's one of the groups that has a financial tie to this series. You have a lot of documentary makers involved in this, and of course, you have a lot of former short sellers, you know, financial analysts, people who are deeply involved in the movement that is pushing, again, for more regulation. So ultimately, this could be more of a political piece than an informative piece. It kind of pushes an agenda. It doesn't fully expose everything. It's more like everyone come with us in this direction. But you guys, again, can let me know what you think in the comment section. Again, I watched it. It was okay. It was okay. I didn't think it was great. If I had to rate it, 1 being terrible and 5 being great, it's probably 3, maybe 3.5. I don't think it was great as some of the, financial documentaries of the past, but ultimately it was okay. It's not a waste of time. It's not terrible. But if you're someone that's heavily involved in this, you may get bored pretty quick. All right, just putting that out there. You may get bored. So again, guys, let me know if you watch this. Let me know your thoughts. I'm not saying I'm an expert on this. I watch movies. I review films again and again and again. It just so happened that this series is something that I'm interested in because I've been talking about this for some time, and I'm looking forward to what else comes. Hey, will they make a movie called The Short Squeeze? Okay, will they make a movie called The Short Squeeze? The Big Squeeze? Anything involving squeeze? Will they do that in reference to what happened here in 2020 and also 2021? Let me know what you think in the comment section. Please subscribe, support. Hey, keep the conversation going. Let me know what you think about gaming Wall Street.